Hi everyone, as you may or may not know, there's going to be a solar eclipse over May the 20th and the 21st. The 21st more for those of you who live in the southern hemisphere, and it's likely to be visible over parts of North America, Asia and the southern hemisphere, but I thought you might like some pointers about what it might mean for you astrologically speaking, so I'm going to cover each of the signs. It has great potential if handled in a conscious kind of a way, a more conscious kind of a way, and with good intention, hopefully, which is the point of what I'm doing here, really, is to make you sort of aware that this thing is going to happen. This eclipse will be happening in the region of the Seven Sisters, or the Pleiades constellation, which is in Taurus, but very close to Gemini. So it's in Taurus Gemini area of the sky, but it is, as far as astrology goes, in the sign of Gemini, right at the very beginning of the sign of Gemini. So it would be affecting you early Geminians really strongly, but also you very late Taurians, but also it will be affecting very strongly all the rest of us in one way or another, but particularly the mutable signs. Gemini is a mutable sign. There's three others, and they are Virgo, Sagittarius and Pisces. So Neptune is very much a factor here as well. The planet Neptune, planet of healing or toxic sludge, and many other things as well. Wondrous dreams come true, or insubstantial castles in the air which come to nothing. And this eclipse energy will be funneling through that Neptunian vibe really strongly. And as I said before, it will be affecting the early natives of the mutable signs more. And you may find that you early Geminians, Virgoans, Saggies and Pisceans need to keep it real. Be extra careful about keeping it real as you go forwards over the coming months, because this eclipse is a strong solar eclipse, and it will be affecting around about 6 months from the time of the eclipse. In fact, some of the eclipse energy may already have been felt. This is the strange, quirky thing about eclipses, that we start to feel the energies in the few weeks before the eclipse actually happens. You early natives of the sign will be right on the front line here, but it will be affecting all of us in a different type of way, depending on how it triggers our natal chart. So in general, with Neptune so prominent here, you may be more inclined to show your softer, rather less decisive, but more compassionate side. And you may feel more influenced, you may feel buffeted by influences, and so therefore indecision is there, confusion is there. And just be careful about, being influenced into doing something or choosing something which is not really you. You can usually tell that, because if you just fire up with some sort of excitement from your core, you might be very quiet about it. You might not be whooping for joy and leaping about, but you might feel like doing it. You might feel like this just kind of lights you up from the inside. Then that is really something that is right for you. But oftentimes, especially with Neptune, which is about delusion and confusion, it can mean that you're bending over backwards, trying to role play, trying to fit into somebody else's expectation or what you think is their expectation, and it gets all very tangled and sort of foggy and confused. So just be aware of that and get good outside impartial advice if you feel you need it. Also, because you're feeling more, like becoming a bit of a martyr, you can overdo it, and that's no good for anybody in the long run. It absolutely is not. You have to be doing the thing out of your own need to learn in some way. So you may find that others are leaning on you more. You feel the pressure of them leaning on their needs on you more. Or maybe it's you. You feel that you're the one doing the leaning, and maybe you have opinions about that. So just make sure you separate the needy from the greedy in your life, but also give yourself a chance to sense the truth and have faith in how you are always guided from the invisible realms, no matter what it looks like to you with your small mind. And you're always loved, and you are valued and held in grace, despite what you may be thinking at the time. Also, during this eclipse, there's a wonderful trine from Venus to Saturn, or the other way around, and also Pluto and Mars, which bodes very well. So we're likely to get more the upside of the Neptunian energy. It bodes very well for long-term alliances, long-term sort of decisions related to relationships, working relationships. It's a good one for that. And monetary or artistic projects as well can go, can benefit from this eclipse energy funneling through those aspects as well. So now for each of the signs, and these are just pointers, there's a lot else that could be said, but for you Aries, the solar eclipse on May 20th, 21st will highlight your communication sector, and if there are aspects from the eclipse degree to important points in your natal chart, then fresh starts can be made, overcoming months related to a new way of understanding something, study, education, new connections, new social connections, travel, media, creative self-expression, negotiations, buying, selling, etc. And you get the chance to improve things over the following months in those areas. But also it's likely that if you just hold that intention and put it out there, that change energy of the solar eclipse, which is happening either for you on the 20th or the 21st of May, will deliver to you. So really, on the day or at the time of the eclipse, and those of you lucky people who can actually look up in the sky and see it, that is the time to put the wish out there. That's the time to put the prayer out there, the intention out there, whatever word you want to label it with. Okay, but whatever is in your heart. And then let that eclipse energy pulse that through to you. And you've got to pick up on it, you've got to work it over the next few months. For you, Taurus, the solar eclipse is in your sector of finances and material security, but also your talents, and making the best use of your assets, whether they're external ones or internal ones. And the eclipse energy will tend to bring new beginnings and potential improvement through resources or because of resources, whether they're external ones or internal ones. And so if an important point in your natal chart is touched and triggered, then over the following months you'll have the chance to capitalize upon things related to these areas. For you, Gemini, the solar eclipse will kick off a cycle of fresh starts with what you want to do for yourself personally in life, or maybe with your appearance. Depends on where you're at, with your life, but that could be related to your own personal physical image, fitness level, or maybe it's taking steps regarding a project or an enterprise close to your heart, but also taking steps related to a relationship, whether that is a business type relationship or a relationship that's close to your heart as well. So all of that is likely to be triggered. In fact, it will be triggered at the eclipse time there, especially for you early Geminis, but you are the ones who are getting the biggest helping of Neptune as well. So I've made my little speech about that. If an important point in your natal chart is touched by the the eclipse degree, then over the following months you'll have the chance to improve things related to the areas I've mentioned. And for you, Cancer, the solar eclipse will tend to highlight more your inner life, will throw the light on things behind the scenes, within you, your emotions, your subconscious, your dream life as well. So it's a useful time, can be spent in contemplation, in meditation, or in doing practices which are healing and nurturing for you and for others as well, because that caring, nurturing, protecting side of yours will tend to come out more with the eclipse happening here. And it's very good for those of you who want to be actively inwards, so beavering away at things behind the scenes which are nobody business but your own, not ready to put it out there yet, not ready to really talk about it yet, to show it yet. Some of you may be working on self, working very hard at ditching baggage from the past. It's very hard for Cancerians because you, of all the signs of the zodiac, have such sensitive feelings and you have such long memories and you cling. Those Cancerian crab claws cling to what hurts and what doesn't hurt, but it's all to do with the past and you cling to that. So this is a very good solar eclipse for you to let go of what you can if you know you have to. It's also a very healing energy and may help you to be more compassionate and selfless to others, but also to yourself. And there could also be new beginnings through artistic, mystical or healing activities. So during the following months, usually about 6, you'll have the chance to improve things related to these areas of your life. But also, as I said earlier, just hold the intention, the prayer, the wish at the time of the eclipse happening, or very close to the time of the eclipse happening. It doesn't have to be right at the moment the eclipse is going on in the heavens above us. Now for you, Leo, the eclipse is in your sector of friendships, social circles, whether they're working ones or personal ones, networking, anything to do with the internet as well, and a venture perhaps you've been hanging fire with, you've been perhaps waiting a very long time to progress with. So this is a very progressive eclipse energy for you. It's a super duper one for you, Leo, really, really good one. Also for Arians as well, because the eclipse energy is in an air sign and that feeds the fire signs. You could be collaborating with others, you could be, as I say, networking, connecting with others who have a shared interest in common. So if a point in your natal chart is triggered, then over the following months there'll be new beginnings related to those areas there. For you, Virgo, the eclipse is in your sector of, well, it's to do with reorganizing things from the ground up, but to feed into your area of general life direction, life goals, profession. The solar energy should invite and usher in change and renewal regarding, your public image, how others are seeing you, and your longer term ambitions as well. And if an important point in your natal chart is triggered, then over the following months you'll get things will just be improving in those areas there, but you will have to be hands-on with that, of course. For you, Libra, the lunar eclipse, the solar eclipse, I keep trying to make it a lunar eclipse, but anyway, it's a solar eclipse with the sun and moon involved, and that's going to highlight your area of education, travel, foreign connections, your knowledge base. So getting into areas academically or intellectually that you're gathering from those sources, maybe things that you didn't know before. And if there's strong degrees from the eclipse degree to points in your natal chart, then there can be new beginnings associated with any of those areas there, field of knowledge, those at a distance, travel, anything which gets you out of a daily grind or a mental rut. Your mind will open to a wider range of options if you are flexible, because this is the energy of change, this eclipse. It's a neutral energy. It's not positive or negative. It's just allowing for change to come in. It's a bit like a gear stick being moved, you know, and put into neutral, and then you take it and decide which gear you're going to go in, you see. It kind of opens the way. It's like a clutch being pressed down. It kind of opens the way to a change of gear. So anyway, it does allow, though, for upgrading and improvements, and maybe rethinking and reviewing and then seeing the way to go. It can also be to do with legal issues as well. So during the following months, you'll have the chance to improve things in those areas. For you, Scorpio, the solar eclipse is in your area of joint resources. The eclipse energy will bring change and new beginnings over subsequent months if an important point in your natal chart is touched. And that means assets and responsibilities you share with someone, or you have a contract or an agreement with someone, can be reviewed, clarified, really being clear about joint expectations, you know, or ditched altogether and then rewritten, because this is very much about things which are maybe being wound down, maybe being stalled, and then started up again. And it's the old way of the old label was that it's the house of death and rebirth, and it's actually your natal house anyway, Scorpio. So something, you know, seeing its last days, some ways of thinking, some standpoint, some way of living, or some idea, but then a renewal coming in here, a renewal. But it might be about finances and property. That's another way it works. And another way it works can be about, you know, your emotional connection with somebody as well. So a rebirth and a renewal feeling there. And again, hold it in your mind, hold it in your heart as near into or at the time as the eclipse as you can. And then this, it almost like it is imprinted. You imprint it, you see. And watch that space. For you, Sagittarius, the solar eclipse is in the sector of your interaction with others, your close interaction with others. So that can be family, partners, colleagues, other alliances. And joint expectations in a relationship may need airing, discussing, thrashing out, clarifying. There can be a fresh start through close relationships, through close communications with others, through alliances, through cooperative alliances. If an important point in your natal chart is triggered, then over the following months you'll have the chance to change the status quo related to those areas. For you, Capricorn, the solar eclipse is in your sector of skills and practical everyday work, chores, tasks, schedules. These may be job-related or underpin health and well-being. And that might not just be yours, or it might not be yours at all. It might be somebody else that you're looking after. And change and new beginnings is related to this area, or will affect you through whoever provides a service to you, or whoever you're working with, like colleagues, workmates, and or health practitioners, whether they're mainstream ones or alternative. Also, you know, like bosses, teachers, advisors, and anybody who's a skilled person, or a person trying to get skilled. So the eclipse energy will be significant over subsequent months if an important point in your natal chart is touched at the time of the eclipse. For you, Aquarius, the solar eclipse is in your sector of personal power and self-indulgence. So providing there are contacts from the eclipse degree to points in your natal chart, this will be a cycle of fresh starts with pursuits or activities you really enjoy, which give you the chance maybe to be more competitive in some cases, or valued or appreciated, or you get recognition from others. So that's good news. If an important point in your natal chart is triggered, then over the following months you'll have the chance to improve things in the above areas. And for you Pisces, I say the areas that I've mentioned, for you Pisces, the solar eclipse is in your sector to do with your direction in life, your profession, but also the very roots of your life, the foundations of your life, and it will offer the chance for fresh starts and improvements at home or with family and tribe or community, in the neighborhood over the coming months. Also, a new chapter in your emotional life may begin, a new understanding and may be dawning with you, and some of you may be working on that, which would be a good idea. So if you want to hold the intention of that when the eclipse happens, then that would be a good idea, or hold the intention or say the prayer, or have the wish, or put out the desire of what you want during very, very close to, or actually at the time of the eclipse, and then, be very aware and conscious. This is using the eclipse energy more consciously. And if an important point in your natal chart is touched, then over the following months you'll have the chance to improve things in these areas. Now I say for everyone if an important point in your natal chart is touched, but of course we don't necessarily know that. So just take it as read that it probably will be touching something in your natal chart, and that will be, I can't know that from here. None of the astrologers who do sun sign astrology like this can know that, but you can get the gist of the way that particular eclipse energy might be working for you anyway, from these little sort of tips here that I've given, and I hope that was interesting to you, and I hope it helped, and I'll see you the next time.